So here's my mirror boom from Mocking D, and you can see it's just got a little pulley here for the clue, and just a way of, I think you just wrap the sail around this loop here, and then if you want to billow it out, you just loosen off this string here, and you pull it if you need to, you know, let it come in tight. This is the gooseneck, and this actually goes on a little pin, and then there's a locking mechanism that stops that from coming off. So that's actually quite a nice way of doing it, isn't it? And you can also see that the boom sort of tapers there, but it's largely wood. There's a couple of blocks here either side. Oh, there's only one block actually that goes on the top, and that's for the vang or the kicker to have a, you know, grip or purchase, and that's actually looks like it's a screwed on. This is the rear. Now that's just for the main sheet here, and these cleats here I made for the reefing. But you can see on the back it has quite a nice little sliding mechanism, which allows you to adjust this. I think this is the tack of the sail. It's got a little block there as well, so you know, it makes it quite easy to adjust, but also it's quite a nice solution. We could dumb that down a little bit, I'm pretty sure. This is actually quite an accurate plan of the Mark II standard mainsail for the Lugger, and as you can see, the foot is 8 foot 3 inches, so it's about that in meters. So we need a piece of wood at least 2.5 meters to create a boom for that sail. I thought I threw this away, but look what we found. This is the gaff off the old mirror, which is the perfect size to use for the Lugger, and actually you can just attach it to the mast with this arrangement, but we're going to have to do a little bit of renovating here. But we could just take this down to the boat as is and give it a test, see if it works. But that is brilliant news that we've still got this. So I'm going to get this out and we're going to see if we can fix it, because we did split it down the middle, and I think if we can glue that, we'll have a gaff that's worth using. So we're going to get this gooseneck off this old boom, and we're going to use that. And you can see we've got the, I don't know if this is called the pintle or not, but we've got this thing here, so that'll be useful. We can have that on the mast. This is my mirror dinghy box, and as luck would have it, there is the vang right on the top, so we don't have to rummage through all of that, which is good news. So yeah, this is really shaping up to be something we might be able to test this week down on the lake. Right, I'm glad we've got the gaff here. It means we don't have to do any kind of machining or tapering of the wood. And the thing about this wood, I don't know what wood it is, but it's very, very light. We're going to snip this off, and then we're going to have a little look at this crack, which to me looks like it goes down to about here somewhere. Hopefully not much further than that. So let's get on and do that. That was holding the sort of crack together, and actually wasn't doing that bad a job, to be honest. So actually, let's have a little look at this first. So let's try and open this out a little bit. Yeah, you can see the crack kind of goes down here. What I'm most concerned about, there is sort of a ridge that you may be able to see. There's sort of a line that runs all the way down there. But I think, it's interesting. I wonder if this wood was actually joined, because how they'd make the little wooden track inside for the sail, actually, I don't know. So maybe it was joined together here. Well, these are the tiniest little screws. There's always one, isn't there? There's always one screw, usually the last one. I can't get this one out, and I've now damaged that really soft brass screw, so I'll have to drill that out. I'm going to try and open this out as much as we can without splitting it more. Usually that should work. You can see it's quite tight down here, so I think as long as we push a little bit in here with a brush, the rest of this will be okay, be fine for a test. And then if this works, we'll just sand it all down and epoxy it to give it a bit of strength, you know. We'll just have to find our way. The cut's still quite clean because I didn't really use this gaff once it had broke. So I'm gonna go just get a little brush, and we're going to use this wood glue. This is my go-to wood glue, exterior, waterproof, bonds in seconds or few minutes, and yeah, really good stuff. What we can also do is run a bit of a bead of epoxy down the middle of this, because we won't need any we won't need that little hollow bit in there anymore, so that would also give a bit of strength. I'm gonna get a little bit of glue on my old screwdriver, but that's okay. We'll give it a clean straight away. There we go. There we go. More. Yeah, brilliant. There we go. So we'll leave that to dry, and we'll see how it goes. Ladder, and it's been through various iterations of design, modification and improvements, and it's got to this, and we're nearly there. So what I've done is I put a little bit of this sort of stainless steel rod through the steps, because they've got this little plastic oval cover on them. However, the first time I did that, it ripped the cover, and then I put these little tie-its on there, and that kind of held it, but then I noticed that I was bending the rods as I went on them. The other thing is, there's some negatives to this ladder still. So the positives are, these have got built-in sort of weight, so the ladder does now sink nicely. But some of the negatives are, these poles are quite thin, so when you've got bare feet, they're quite hard to stand on. Depending on which way these kind of flip, you know, it depends. You know, the rods are very hard to keep under the webbing, so they are quite hard to keep under the webbing. You need these rods, by the way, of some nature, because without them, the webbing just all closes up around your foot, and it makes it really hard to locate your foot into the steps. The other thing is these can flip around, and it makes it quite hard to sort of get the ladder out sometimes. But other than that, it has been a success, and I have managed to get on the boat with this ladder. I was out of my depth water. I think having these rings, we need to put these rings together and hook them onto one point. But I have noticed with this rod, it does seem to, in fact, it kind of, if these rods get a little bit decentralized, it kind of tilts the ladder to one side. So it's putting undue stress on the ladder. So what I thought is, I had an original design for a ladder, but at the time I didn't have the parts to do it. I'm going to show you what I've got. I've just cut myself some of this aluminium tube, and this stuff is immensely strong and it's nice and big. So I thought originally I could cut a little slit in these and maybe slide them over the webbing on the ladder. I still could do that. But then I thought, interesting. Maybe I should just get some spare rope and make a ladder out of rope with knots and whatnot. And this could just be made out of really strong rope. And then we'll maybe get some O-rings and whatnot and we'll use that on the boat instead. So, yeah. I thought, now I've got this spare aluminium section, I think I'm going to tidy up the edges, drill a few holes in, and we're going to tie them together with a rope. The other reason I like this design is that I found that on this ladder, the steps are a little bit too far apart. So with the rope, of course, you could adjust that. So we're going to go for it. We're going to give this a go. And the big job will be just kind of tidying up all these edges, really. I need to get the Dremel. And then we'll see if we can make a ladder out of these and give that a test when we're at the boat this week. That's lovely and smooth. Oh, a little bit of rough there. Nice and smooth. One down, two to go. That's 3 poles, all lovely and smooth there. Okay, so you can see that's pretty good, I hope. We'll get the others done and then we'll smooth these off and then we'll go into the other room and we'll try and see if we can get this rope sorted out in them. Right, so here it is, this halyard. It's GP14 halyard. This is what this is. And it's 6mm, whatever it is. Polyester, something or t'other. So and you sort of get a little point like that, and then we should be able to thread that through. Oh, I'm not going to lie, a little bit tight, but I think tight is good. And there we go. So what we're going to do, we're going to do the bottom one first. So I'm going to pull this all the way through to the other end of this line, and I'm going to put a knot in this side. So let me do that so I can show you what I'm up to. And I don't know, for now, I'm going to use a figure 8 knot. But I probably want a better knot than that. But there we go, there's a figure 8 knot. And let's pull this through. So there we go, that's the first one in. And now we're going to get the second one. And this is the part where we've got to start to sort of tweak how we want these to fit together. Oh, this holes are slightly tight. Once you get the shrink through, the holes are perfect though. So there we go, there's the second rung. And now I want to just make sure we get these sort of nicely done. So I think that's good. So I'm going to have that knot here. So there's that one. So we have to put this on first. So let's put that one on before we do the knot for the next one. And that will sit on here like this. There we go. They're about the right space as well. But like I said, you can adjust these once you've done. Now, what we could do, we could leave them, you know, to move. As long as they're down, they're down. So I'm going to just take this out. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put knots on the top tight. The reason I'm going to do that is because it will just give this less chance to, if you know, if the less things that move about, the more likely, or the more things that can kind of move about, the more likely things are going to get tangled up. So we're going to do, just put these knots. They don't have to be, you know, massively super tight and super good. They just have to do a job. So I'm going to finish off doing this, and I'm going to do it both sides, and then I'm going to come back to you when I've done it. So there we go, and I've got it nice and level. The big part was getting these level. That one needs a little bit of adjusting still, but these are quite level. Maybe that a little bit more. But now I'm hoping the aluminium will be heavy enough to pull these down into the water. If not, what we'll do, we'll just undo one of these ropes at the bottom, and then what we'll do is we'll just put a little bag or muslin bag of stones in there, or whatever we need to. We could even fill it up with a bit of cement or something, and we'll just make sure that then is heavy enough to drag the ladder down. But I think this is going to be fine like this. I can't wait to try it. Pouring with rain outside, but that looks pretty well fixed. That does. Just give it a little flex. Look at that. This glue is brilliant. So I think we've got a working gaff or boom. So I've got the whole kit, the pintle or gooseneck kit off my mirror here. So that's not going to go round the mast of the lugger, but it's very bendy. It's very bendy, and I think we can get that to fit. That's the little gooseneck. That's the pin that would go down there, and then that gooseneck would need to fit. Well, these would have to come off, so the gooseneck would have to fit sort of on here, and I think we might have to shave this wood down a tickle. On the mirror it's pointed down to get that to fit properly. So these are glued as well, so we are going to need to sort of ease these off, but you can see it's probably time that they came off anyway. This one came off fairly cleanly, but you can see where the epoxy sort of bitten soaked into the wood, and that one didn't come off very cleanly at all. But we're going to chop that now, so we'll mark that out so it fits with this, and then we'll just get this all cleaned up. Won't take very long to do at all. Sorry about this, I lost the last video I did. I didn't press the button to start the video. So I've just cut a nice V along there. So this is like, for those of you who don't know, just like a very rough kind of file, and it just really takes the wood down to the right shape. Just need to sort this little bit out here, and then there we go, and then we'll epoxy that nice and straight. Now what I would do is, normally I would sand this down, but at the moment I'm not going to do that because we're just testing it. So we're going to make sure we can screw that in at the right point. Oh, and that's the gooseneck done on this. So there's a little problem here with this gaff stroke boom, and that is it has a little sort of channel running through it if you look. Now I don't know whether they drill that through with a, you could do it with a router, or whether they join it. This crack suspiciously looked like the wood was never really one piece. But anyway, what I've done is I've taped it up, and I think the problem I've got with this is if you squeeze this together, that's going to create some shearing force on here. The other issue is I need to drill and screw things right down the centre of this, such as, you know, the tack and clue chandlery. So what I've done, I've taped up both sides, and I'm going to fill this with epoxy. Here goes nothing. Okay, you can see that sliding down quite nicely. The trick here will be to just get a nice rhythm going so it doesn't back up too quickly. And what this should do really is soak into the wood as well a little bit. So it will create a really nice strong bond. And it shouldn't add any weight, so to speak of, because I think we're going to need a couple of cups at most, which, you know, we're talking a few grams. Ah, there we go, it's running, there it is. You can see it's running quite freely. I don't know if you can make that out. So we're kind of going along, there it is going past us now. There you go. I'm going to mix some more up. So we've got a new cup just going in now, and you should see there's the end we've got to so far, and the tape's doing really well. It's not, it's leaking out the bottom. Right, so actually it wasn't coming out the end, it was coming out the holes where the gaff jaws used to be. I didn't anticipate that the screws had gone through into the channel. What's going on here? And yeah, we're just losing a tiniest little bit now. It's very early on a Wednesday morning, and we're going to try and take this tape off. The epoxy should have cured by now. I'm hoping it doesn't stick the tape to the wood. It doesn't seem to like the tape very much. Yeah, it's rock solid. The sticky bit has stuck to it a bit from the tape, but it's definitely not added any weight per se to this, but it's definitely going to do the job. You can feel it's a solid piece of wood now. So it's a bit disappointing there's some gaps in it here, but what we can do is we can just get these last little bits done with a syringe maybe. It seems to be mainly at the top here for some reason, and then down the bottom here. I think the weight or the force of it has meant it's filled up much better down here. So yeah, we've got a little bit of tidying up to do. There we go, got most of the tape off. Oh, there's a little bit here. There's some tape that's kind of a little bit more underneath some layers of epoxy now, just here, this little bit here, but I'm pretty sure it'll all sand off. So there's a bit of bad news on the mirror boom sort of chandlery set I bought. The guy's actually on holiday. I didn't realise until I gave him a quick message to ask when he's going to post it, and he said it's quite clear on the auction. I didn't see, but it's fine, it's no big deal. It just means we won't have all that special mirror tack and clue adjustment until I think it's the 17th of July, so it's a couple of weeks. So it is what it is. We'll get things working on this. The main reason I want the boom is to sort of just tighten the sail up, so we can just get some blocks on here and tighten things up and have a little play tomorrow, hopefully, and then we'll take it from there. And all we're going to do is just fill in the gaps. I think we've got time for this to set tomorrow, so let's see what we can find. Let's get this, there we go, nice and full. Of course, as it soaks into the wood, it of course you know, it contracts. You have a little bit less than you did have, but this as well, these little gaps are what we're trying to just fill. Not entirely sure why there's little gaps here, but there's just a little gap just at the top of here. So this allows me to kind of force epoxy into these little gaps. Whee. Yeah, they're quite superficial, these gaps. They're just on the top. This one's a little bit deeper here though. You can see you fill them up quite quickly. And then there's a few bubbles, but that's it. I didn't need as much as I thought I'd need. A few down here. I think there's a few little bubbles where the bubbles have tried to sort of escape, but other than that, I think we're done. Oh, a bit more in here. Yeah.